Welcome to Plantfully Megan. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make the most delicious plant-based, cheesy, crunchy kale chips you've ever had. First, we'll start with 4 bunches of kale, and what we'll need to do is remove the hard stems. So I like to keep even these little pieces of the kale for munchy kale chips later, but I just start breaking it up into kale chip size bites and tossing them in a large mixing bowl. The kale I like to use is the curly leaf kale. There's a lot of different kales that you can use. I like this one because it gives it a really nice crunch when it's all done being dehydrated. All right, we have our massive bowl of de-stemmed and washed kale. It's pretty dry. I tried to rinse it and let it sit for a while so it could drip dry for a while. We're gonna put this to the side and we're gonna make the sauce that's gonna go on top. All right, now we're gonna make the sauce for our kale chips. First, we're gonna add 3 cloves of garlic and 2 cups of cashews. I did not soak these, they are dry. I'm just tossing those in there. We have 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos, 4 teaspoons apple cider vinegar, 6 tablespoons nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon turmeric, and a ½ teaspoon of salt and a ½ teaspoon of black pepper. And then we have a 1.5 cups of water. And we'll blend that up. All right, so we blend that until it's creamy in a high-powered blender. I like to just check. Yeah, that's good. Now that that is nice and creamy, we are going to pour the sauce all over our little kale chunks. Make sure we get every last bit of that yummy sauce onto our yummy kale chips. One thing I noticed about this sauce is whenever you're tasting it now, it's gonna taste a little sweeter. Cashews have a little bit, in my opinion, of a sweet taste to them. But whenever they dehydrate, that kind of sweet taste is not there anymore, and it's more the savory, it has the savory tones that we're wanting with that cheesiness because of the nutritional yeast. And then we're just gonna mix it all together. We're not massaging it in. We actually want the kale to stay nice and crisp, so we're not massaging it, we're just mixing it. Make sure it has a nice even coat. And you really gotta have a big mixing bowl for this. If you don't have a big mixing bowl, you could do 2 separate bowls evenly, or you could just cut the recipe in half and just do 2 bunches of kale and a cup of cashews and just cut everything in half. Making sure every leaf has a nice even coating of our yummy, yummy sauce on there. What's fun about this recipe is once you've mastered this as the base recipe, you can add more. If you want even more garlic, you can add more garlic. You could add garlic powder or onion powder or paprika. If you want a smoked flavor, you could do like a smoked paprika or smoked chipotle. So this is just a really good cheesy, I mean, I like it just like this, but if you're just feeling in the spicy mood, you can add some other spices as well. I like to evenly spread them out. I use the dehydrator trays that have the holes in them. There's also silicone ones that you can use for other projects, but for this, I just like to use the ones so that the air can just circulate throughout the kale chips. You just evenly stack them on here. They might stick together a little bit if you kind of have them stacked the way that I have. I don't really mind if they break apart because I like to get as much huge batches of this done at a time because my husband and I will plow through bags of these like nobody's business. All right, I'm gonna throw this in the dehydrator at 105 degrees for about 12 hours. You want them nice and dry and crispy. I always pull them out of the dehydrator and let them cool for a little while just to make sure that there's not moisture in them because I like them when they're really crunchy. There's kind of a fine line between too crunchy and falling apart and too soft where it still has moisture in them. So you can even check them depending on your dehydrator, but I found at 105 degrees for about 12 hours seems to work really well. All right, we just took these kale chips out of the dehydrator. They were in there for a little over 12 hours and they turned out absolutely amazing. They're so crunchy and so crisp. I had to pick the tray that my husband hadn't eaten half of them off of, which is a good sign that they turned out amazing. I hope you enjoy these crunchy, delicious, cheesy, plant-based kale chips as much as we do. Thanks for joining us in today's video. For more plant-based recipes and detox lifestyle tips, make sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time.